Hi everybody, February already and we're off with our tag roulette. I do feel like we do need like music for this, so let's see what we are going to be doing this month. So I need a piece of paper. There we go. Grab a tag because I don't want to repeat any of the previous ones. So we have done number 1, we've done 23, and we've done 52. So this is my bit. So I've added my white piece, I've done my little bit of macrame and my little flowers that are going across. So let's have a look. Generation. So this month we've got 40, 16 and 44. Right, okay, let's see what we've got. So 40. Oh, awesomeness, that was yummy. So it's something yummy. I need to write this down because I'll need to go off and start looking for some stuff. So that's what we did last time. So number 40 is something, oops, yummy. 44, 43, oh, 44 was cross stitch. Nice. And number 16, 11, 14, 15, 16. Oh, was a seed stitch. Oh, nice. Seed stitch. Right, so there's our numbers for this month. Like usual, I'll be back in 2 minutes with my threads and we'll make a start on this month. Exciting. See you in a sec. So I'm back. Had a bit of a root round, had a bit of think about what we're going to do. So I found some more threads that I got at Yarndale last year, and they've been in my basket, and I thought, oh, do you know what, I started with a bit of yellow and there's some really nice colours in here, so this might help me add a few more colours into my piece. So I'm going to use that as my yummy. And then I've pulled 2 different coloured threads out. I've got some perlé and some cotton thread, because the other bits obviously is cross stitch and seed stitch. So it's just thinking about now where to go. So I think really what you need to do is just take inspiration from what you've already done, because I'm assuming it's looking beautiful already. I've still got my white threads because I think I'll still probably stitch. I've still got some more yellow because I think what I'll probably do with this is add a bit of this on and then go with last month's stitching and bring it back into it. So just still got to play around just with a few different ideas. So I've got lots of different colours in here, but I quite liked this little section here of slightly muted colours. I just think it goes quite nicely with the bits that I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop a bit off. Just go for it. Snip. There we go. Be brave. Snippety snip snip. And I've got my little lazy daisies going across. I think what I'm going to do is probably following that sort of route is probably look at starting just to couch down some of these threads. Not going to overthink it. I think I probably am going to end up trimming my piece down at some point, just as well because I'm not doing it in a hoop. It's quite a big piece of fabric to manage and manipulate. Go on the other side of that. So couching down basically is just doing little stitches over the top. Now my idea of yummy is a thread. It's just some sort of thread that just makes me go, ooh, that's yummy. But your idea of yummy could be totally different. So again, to put your own spin on it. I know when I saw people's tags, they were all really different. So I don't know, what could your yummy be? Might even be something like a bit of fabric that you just think, ooh, I really, really like that. So I suppose really the word yummy is just, it's something that you just really like. And I think sometimes what we're all a little bit guilty of is when we have something we like, we save it. And you just think, I'm not going to use it. Can't use that. It's far too nice. Now, in some circumstances, I totally agree. And it probably is too nice to use. But at the end of the day, I also believe that if you don't use it, who's going to? So this piece that you've got here that you're doing could be, let's move these out, right, turn it around a bit, could be something that you've got, something that you've treasured, that could be your, oops, your yummy, sorry, totally forgetting where I am, just getting a bit carried away. So all I'm doing is couching this thread down, and I'm sort of taking inspiration from the lazy daisies that I stitched last month. Oh, there we go. And I do know that we had couching as one of the other things, so I know couching is possibly going to come into it, but this was the technique that I used when I did my yummy stitching. So I think I'm going to do maybe a tram line of this, top and bottom of my Mad Little Daisy stitches from last month. And then I might add some more, but obviously I've got my seed stitch and my cross stitch to start off first. So hope everybody enjoyed last month's. Please share your images. If you happen to be doing this and you have a channel and you're filming yourself doing it, fantastic, that's great. I love to spread some information, not inspiration, well it is information, inspiration to other people. All I ask is that you do credit where you've got the challenge from, please. There we go. So Yummylicious. Just love threads. So tactile, like sweeties. I didn't know if I was going to like this, but I do quite like it. When I got it out I thought, oh, I don't know if it's a little bit heavy, but I actually think it works okay, because I'm going on quite random. I'm not overthinking it at all, so I don't just want to do everything in a line. So I'm going to take, I think this just out, maybe out a little bit out there, so that I'm beginning to spread beyond the white that I did. So it's just popping over, little stitch. Obviously because your stitches are moving along your piece, just check that tension so that you don't end up doing it and then when you come to lay it down it's all scrunched up. That's the last thing we want. Oh, quite like that. Come back down the other way. So what I'm doing then is I'm beginning to create some shapes. Then when it comes to other types of stitching, I've got shapes to start playing with and intermingling. Because you don't, well, I suppose if you want to see these as all individual little techniques, so say if you did do what I suggested last month, which is you're doing some giant tags and just blending all three together just on a tag, obviously you are going to be working a little bit smaller, but I just thought, you know what, I'd like to try and bring it all together. It'd be quite nice. Mix it all up a little bit. So I'm going to create some shapes, and then that lazy daisy might come across into it. So you can go backwards and forwards through the months. Obviously, if I'll probably say this every single month, so I'll sound a little bit like a broken record. If you did the tag challenge, go and have a look at your tags, because one of the reasons that I decided to do this was because I was like, what am I going to do with my tags now? Got all these tags, no idea what to do with it. So it's actually quite exciting going back and looking at them, because we spent a year doing them. I know I do, sort of forget what you did. So it is quite nice just to go back and just have a reminder, especially if you did what I was going to do and didn't do, which was to write on the back something, a memory or a quote or something that you did that week. So it's sort of like reliving memories. Do get a bit annoyed at myself that I didn't continue with that. So I've got that bit on. I think I might do another little bit, maybe up here. I'll do that later. So that's the first one, that's my yummy that's been added. So when it comes to the cross stitch, what I did with the cross stitch was I kept it fairly plain and then did a bit of an accent colour. So I've picked a green out, so I've got green and mustard yellow that are sort of my accents, and then I've got I've got a grey thread. Yeah, so I might start off with my cross stitch. So cross stitch is really nice. If you layer it up, don't just do it just as one, and you can play around. So if you've got stranded threads, start off with some thicker threads and then use some thinner threads, and that'll create another texture on your piece. So like I had my daisies going across, I think what I'm going to do is maybe have my cross stitch, because when I looked at my tag I sort of had it going across my piece. Or actually no, I think what I might do is I might use it as a decorative bit, just straight up, maybe, because then I've got a bit of a contrast with things going across and things going upwards. Yeah, let's do that. So this edge here, oh, helps if you put a knot in the end of your thread. Let's try again on this section here. So take 2. Okay, so my cross stitch. I tend to do with the cross stitch is do your one cross across, and go like upwards in one direction and then come back down and do your overlapping cross. Oh yeah, it's going to look good. So I'm doing one of the diagonals first, going up my piece. So I've got 3 strands of my cotton thread on this one, just to make it stand out. There we go. This is going to be one of these ones I think that you'll end up playing around with quite a bit, especially when it gets onto the seeding stitch, because it does take quite a while to do a seeding stitch. It's well worth doing and it looks really pretty, but it does take a little bit of time. Right, so I'm going to go up and beyond. I've got quite chunky because I've got chunky thread. I've got quite a chunky cross stitch going on. Okay, right, so then when you get to the top, there we go. Then I'm just going to come back down the other way to create my cross. So just keep going one side to the other. So this is quite nice. It's doing a big chunky stitch, really stands out. And then you could always, which I might do, is some little ones. So when you're doing your stitching, really play around with different variations, a little bit like we did last year. Is do the stitch, but then think about, well, what else could I do? Could I do it bigger, smaller, different threads, and just trying other things. Just experimenting and playing, and you can't go wrong at all. And I would do it where you have it so that when you're mixing and matching it, by using similar threads or the same colour in different thicknesses and stuff, you sort of draw it all together, but you're creating a variety of textures. I lost my train of thought then, so I hope that made sense. Just can't do two things at once. Well, I can. I can definitely talk for England. Okay. I quite like that. So then this is this bit where you start thinking about like composition and how things play as you're doing it. So I quite like that there. And then I think actually it'd be quite nice to do it on that bit as well. So composition's one of these things. It's just the arrangement of where you put everything. And sometimes it can be quite nice to mirror oh, I need to get my teeth in. To mirror things. Or to have them going, if you've got it going horizontally one way, then have it going vertically another way. So yeah, I quite like the idea of having this fabric. Just scrunch it up a bit. It's one of the things of this. I've got my little craft iron because I'm using linen for my background. Number one, the more I use it, the more scrunched up it's going to get, and actually the fabric will become a lot softer. But with linen, it doesn't have crease. So I keep ironing my little bits just every now and again. So just going down that side. Make sure if you've scrunched your fabric up that you don't end up stitching it all together, because no doubt at some point I am going to do that. Right, so I've done that. Flip it round. And come back up the other way. Now this is going to be one of those things. Am I going to run out of thread before I get back to the top? I think I probably am. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen. I'm not going to try and keep going and do that bit where you have to try and tie it off at the back with like the smallest amount of thread that you've ever had. So later on I'll come back and I'll finish that bit off. Scissors. There we go. Okay. Oh, quite like that. So just using that down there and then down there, that looks really nice. And then I think what I'll do with my daisies, I might carry my daisies on and beyond that. And I might mix in some other bits. So I think I might use my green and mix in some seed stitching. So your seed stitch is just a tiny little stitch, little straight stitch in lots of different directions. So it's trying to be random with what you're doing, which is not always the easiest of things to be, but biggest tip for being random is every so often is rotate your piece of work, turn it around, try it in a different direction, look at it in a different direction, So I think I'll do some seed stitching, just coming up and over, maybe over and across. So those are our 3 things for February. Fabulous February. We have got something yummy, cross stitch and seed stitch. So again, I'm looking forward to a bit more time. Just sat doing this again. I'll post some pictures of my bit on Instagram and Facebook. Please pop yours on, share and comment on other people's. It's one of the things that I loved about the tags last year, was that little community that just started building up. So go find something yummy, get your needle, get a coffee, get something on the TV or a listening book or podcast or some music, or if you're having a bit of a busy life at the moment, maybe just a bit of peace and quiet. Right, we'll stop there for a sec and I'll just go in there. Okay, let's move that up so you can just see what I'm doing. So I'm starting a bit of seed stitching that's just there. So we're really going with the flow, definitely going with the flow with all this, just to see what happens. I think I'll probably pop so similar colours. Oh, there we go. Yeah, might pop a little bit of this maybe up here as well. Yeah, just so that it sort of brings that in, and I'm beginning to sort of start adding bits together, and then when we come to following months we've got more and more space. But I do think I'm possibly, yeah, I might be going to trim that down, just make it a little bit long. Yeah, that's going to be easier to handle. So I think I'm going to trim my piece. So I'm taking my piece, where's my tape measure, down to around about 10 or 11 inch by about 18. I think that'll just be a little bit more manageable. And I think once you actually start working, you sort of get an idea for the sort of size that you want it to be. Yeah, so there we go. That's our 2 months done. Gosh, absolutely crazy. So I will see you in Mad March. See you later.